Welcome to Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian, your Makabexy casual gamer.
I'm Stacey. I'm your non-gamer gamer.
And we are here today with, I believe, what is going to be our final two-person Rank the Collection, because the other Rank the Collections are going to be mostly solo. Stacey might come in and talk about the games that she's played in the other collections, but the other collections, the other big collections we have from publishing companies have mostly solo. There might be one more, but I think this is going to be our last Rank the Collection two-player. And we are doing Underdog games today. Underdog Games is known for the trekking series of games. They are currently on more than the first edition of some of them, and we'll kind of talk about that as we quickly run down the games. So we're going to run down these in release order, including, I think, the order that the original one was released, except for one of them. So they're mostly in release order. So
I will start with Trekking the National Parks, the board game. This is a board game where you are going to be visiting national parks in a competitive but yet fun manner, I think. You are competing for points by exploring parks, camping, and you will be collecting stones along the way. You will collect multi-use cards that will allow you to move by using the number on that card, or you can visit a park by collecting the colors of those cards. So you'll have a handful of cards where you'll be able to move by adding up the numbers. You can play two cards, a 4 and a 2 if you want to move 6 spaces, or you can collect the different pictures or colors on those cards to be able to use those to visit the parks. And when you have the most parks visited, or you get to 7 national parks, first person to 7 parks, I believe, is the winner. I really like that game.
Yep. And we do have the 3rd edition of this. The original edition we looked up actually came out, I think it said 2014. And then the 2nd edition, which we did have the 2nd edition, we got the 3rd edition on a discount sale when Underdog released something. I don't remember what it was. Or they had a coupon code for it. And we got the 3rd edition because the 3rd edition added a solo mode to it, which I've not had a chance to play yet. But the 3rd edition, the only difference between the 2nd and 3rd edition is, I believe, that it just added a solo mode. Other than that, it was... so we're putting that as like the first release that we have. Now, the second release that we actually had was the 1st edition of Trekking the World. This 2nd edition, which we will talk about at the end, because the 2nd edition is one of their newer games, completely reworked the game. The original Trekking the World basically felt like trekking the national parks in the world with a couple other things. Mm-hmm. So we are not going to rank that version of it. We are going to rank the 2nd edition. So the first game I'm going to really talk about is Trekking Through History. Trekking Through History is a game where you are doing just that. You are going around, you're going to different events and visiting different people in history through this time mechanic. You have an itinerary, and every day you travel for 12 hours. The different cards are on this conveyor belt. They say how long it takes to travel to that event or that person. This is the 1st edition of the game. I don't think there's anything different other than the cover in the 2nd edition. This was the Kickstarter version. Oh, they did add the solo mode into the 2nd edition standard. Originally, it was a Kickstarter exclusive. So you're traveling to different events. Each event, you are collecting some different things depending on what type of event it is, and you're trying to put those on your itinerary to get some points. It has this time clock. Each event you visit, you are taking a certain amount of time on that day. Whoever is behind in each, whoever is further behind, who has traveled less hours, gets to go next. So you can get some really good combos. You're trying to collect events in order from the furthest back to the most current. The longer your trek is, each trek gets you more points. If you ever have to take one that it can't go on your stack, you kind of stack that up and you start a new trek. If you have a trek that is only 1, I believe it is, you have -3 points. And if you have only 2, it's 0 points, which is better than -3. So you're trying to figure out when you want to start a new trek, a new journey to starting a new trek through time. You can each day you are trekking to, there's a different stack of cards. So with those cards, there's different time periods. The first day, you have a lot more stuff that is really far back and it doesn't come as current. By the third day, you have a lot more stuff that is current, and there's only a couple things that are even in the BC era. You are, like I said, you are collecting tokens that represent different types of events. It might be a person who spoke, or it might be, something like that, and they're different colors, and you're collecting those two different ways. You're collecting them, they are pre-printed on the board, and they are also on each card. So you're trying to, it's this interesting thing between like, okay, I really want this card, but I really need these pieces. Is there a way I can get both of them? Because maybe I can get this, then you have to realize things are going to slide down. So all of a sudden the card that, or the token that's not, or the thing that is not, the icon that's on the board that was above the card is no longer, or that is below the card is no longer below the card you want. So it's this really interesting puzzle as to when do you want to do things, what cards, how far do I want to move. I really want that because I really need all those tokens. So trekking through history.
And the next one that I'm going to talk about is Her Story. In Her Story, you are an author making a book about women's history. Because let's face it, women don't get as much credit as they deserve back in the early history of timekeeping. And so you will uncover special advantages along the way and special powers along the way while learning about so many remarkable women in this. As a lot of you know, I love games that teach you about things and history, so this one really hit with me. But you're going to be collecting tokens off of the main board, and then you're going to be refilling them with the bag. And those tokens are going to allow you to basically purchase a chapter from the main board game to put into your book, and that each card that you collect is going to be a chapter in your history of your book, which is a really cool concept to me. The main board is going to hold your cards that you can purchase. It's also going to hold the tokens. You're going to put those into your collection, and then at the end, when you have all, I think it's 7 or 8 chapters completed.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I can't remember. 7 or 8 chapters completed. The first person to do that triggers the end game. And some of those cards are going to have immediate actions that you can take or bonuses that you can take, or they will have game end results. Like some of them is if another player has a certain number of something, then you get an additional point for each one that they have. So you're kind of helping. There's some parts where you can hinder the other player. You have a library card that if you don't like the tokens that are up there, you can flip your library card and you can refresh all of the tokens.
And you can do that twice.
And you can do that twice.
The other thing on the cards is sometimes they might have an icon on them, which you can use as an extra icon to get different. So you're kind of looking at which things you want to get.
Yep. I really like this game, but we'll talk about that later.
Yep. All right. The next one I'm going to talk about is Trekking the World 2nd Edition. Now, like I said, Trekking the World 1st Edition felt like they simply did trekking the national parks and made it around the world. With the 2nd Edition, they completely changed this game up. This is a completely different game. You are no longer collecting souvenirs every location you go. As you're going around, you are still visiting sites. You are still getting money. But the way it happens is now you have a card, and you do everything on that card. You will move a certain number of spaces. You will collect a certain amount of money on your little dial. And then you will get the souvenir tokens only if you are in the right country that is showing, or continent or region that is showing on the card that you flipped over. The location cards are now multi-purpose cards. At the beginning of the game, you put half of them face up, half of them face down. The face up ones are locations you can visit at any time. The face down ones are the ones that you can visit. So the face up ones you visit for points. The face down ones you visit for abilities. And these abilities allow you to do things. So they kept the good things about Trekking the World, but everything else, they completely changed this game. They made this game so much better than the original version with the second edition. So the second edition is the one we are going to be doing. You, like I said, you no longer, the first edition, you basically were doing the same thing as trekking the national parks. You use the number to move, you use the color to visit locations. That was it. No longer. Now when you get to locations, you have to pay the money to visit the locations, which I really like that idea in this one. So that is Trekking the World second edition. And we might mention where we would put Trekking the World first edition, even though we no longer own it. But yeah.
Yeah. And then the next game that I'm going to talk about is their first small box game.
Yeah.
Which I think is such a great idea.
This one was just released at Gen Con.
Yes. And this is High Tide. High Tide, you are trying to... It's a stacking game for the most part. You've got 3 different colors. You've got pink, green, and yellow. And I think it's,
turquoise.
Yellow.
Turquoise.
Blue. We'll call it blue. Pink, blue, and yellow. The yellow are the neutral colors that you're going to start in the middle of your board. And then you're going to randomly draw out going around, making like an octagon shape of putting them in there, I guess is the shape. I
think it comes out as a sort of a hexagon, but it's jaggedy sides.
But it's in the instructions. So anyway, so you're going to randomly put them around, and you have to stack your color so that it ends up being the highest of everything. Once you can no longer stack your color or any other color, then whoever has the highest stack wins. Right? It's
you can move your color or you can move the yellow color. And you're trying to stack. When you stack, you have to move a piece higher than it was before. So if it was at number 1, if it was on the base, it could go anywhere higher on a tile that's next to it. When somebody can no longer move stuff, you count up whoever has the most showing wins that round.
Yeah, it's kind of a game of chance, but it's got a lot of thinking involved in it, because you have to try and plan your next couple moves and try and kind of get that other player to kind of move into where you're trying to do it, so that you can try and block
to manipulate them into doing stuff to help you.
I'm not very good at I don't think I've ever won. I don't know.
I think you have.
I'm not sure.
I think we're probably even on that one.
But yeah.
All right. The next game is another small box game. This is a game that is not out yet. We got a review copy of High Tide. We've gotten review copies. Actually, Trekking the World Second Edition was a review copy as well. We got a review copy of High Tide, and when we did, we got a little surprise in the box that we totally were not expecting. So this next game is a game that is not released yet. It is scheduled for release later this year. September or October, I think, is what they are aiming for. And this is called Quick Pause. And this is a game where you are laying dog cards down, trying to put your hand down to kind of almost, or do some or bark or do something, depending on what it is. It's a really interesting game. We will have coverage for this in September for sure. And what it is, so you have a stack of cards face down, and you're flipping them over. If it matches somebody else's, and in a 3-player game, everybody's got a stack. In a 2-player game, you have 2 different stacks. You can choose which stack to put on. If it matches, you have to do something. You might be putting your hand face up on the stack in the middle. You might be putting your hand face down. You have 5 cards in front of you that are face down that are toys that dogs might fetch for. So if a fetching, you have to go and you have to find that. And then you kind of know what it is. But if you're wrong at some point, you have to like shuffle those up so you no longer know where they are. And then there's another one where you have to bark out loud, and the first person to bark. And then you're trying to get rid of your cards in the game. It is a really fun game. Like I said, we will have coverage for this in September. Like I said, this is not out yet, and it will be. They're talking September or October. Like I said, when we got our review copy of High Tide, which we had asked about, this was a complete surprise to us. We hadn't even heard of this, let alone we're expecting a second review copy of a game. So there are the 6 games we're going to rank. We might say, we might say we're Trekking the World First Edition might come in near the end, but So these are the 6.
I like
Yep.
this.
If you lose, you collect the piles. It's
Yes.
that type of game. All right. So number 6.
Oh boy.
Start us off.
I don't know. You see.
We didn't do this on. We did not do this one on Pub Meeple.
No.
We are doing this one kind of on the fly.
Here's the thing about this is that I love every single one of these games.
Yes.
And
I think the other thing is that I always have a problem. It's hard to rank small box games versus big box games.
possibly.
Sometimes.
Number 6.
Number 6. Like I said, these are all great games. We love all 6 of these games. We really do love all 6 games. We just have to kind of make a decision as to.
I'm gonna go trekking the national parks.
Okay. Number 6.
As my number
Trekking the
6.
national parks. All right. Stacey's number 6 is trekking the national parks. Okay.
That's. And I can't even tell you why. I think it's because I have the cards in my hand, and it can get a little overwhelming because you can end up with quite a few cards in your hand.
I see that.
And depending on how you organize them, organization can be a little bit difficult for me because I have tiny hands.
Good.
So that's the only reason that I'm ranking it number 6.
Okay.
That's it.
So whenever I'm ranking things, I do find it hard to rank small box stuff versus big box. A small box really has to do a lot for me in order to rank above a big box. And like they said, we love all of these games. But man, and this is probably surprising. I think
surprising.
I'm going to have to put this one at number 6 as well. Simply because I think at this point, it's not the first one I'm going to grab off the shelf of these 6. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to grab the other 5 first, including the small boxes, simply because the small boxes play quicker, and the other big boxes I'm going to grab before trekking the national parks. Trekking the national parks also has a big kind of ticket to ride sort of feel to it, which we do enjoy, but I think that's kind of where I got to think about this, is what am I going to grab off the shelf at this point? And I think at this point, the other 3 big boxes are definitely going to get grabbed over this. And I think I'm going to grab the 2 small boxes before that as well at this point. Now, I do want to try the solo mode, so who knows? It may move back up with the solo mode. Okay. That was my number 6.
So while you were talking, I couldn't hear a word you said because I was thinking really hard. And we all know I can't multitask that well when I'm thinking and trying to listen at the same time. So I came up with my number 5, and my number 5 is going to be High Tide. I do love this game, but I suck at it, and I don't like to play games that I suck at. Ian can outwit me and get me to sucker into his plays and his movements, which I think this is one of the few games left that he can still do that, since I've become a serious gamer.
Okay.
So I just am not good at I like it, but I suck at it really bad.
All right. I think my number 5 is going to be Quick Pause.
Oh.
Only because we've only played it once so far.
True.
I think this one...
I thought we played it twice.
I think we played it once or twice. We've played High Tide a little bit more. The High Tide has a little more strategy to it, which I think is why it's jumping above for me. But I mean, I really like this. Is a really fun, quick,
it is.
Really fun, quick, silly game to play. I can't wait to do some content on this and show you guys how to play this one, because it is just hilarious to play.
Playthrough. Oh my goodness.
Playthrough. This is just gonna be hilarious because we're gonna be like searching for cards and barking and putting our hand up or down or doing all sorts of silly things. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, Quick Pause is gonna be my number 5.
Okay. You know what? Quick Pause is my next. I don't even know. Are we on 4?
4.
This is my number 4. This is, for looking like a kiddie game, this is a thinker as well. Because depending on, you have to look at 2 things on the card. You have to look at what it's telling you to do. So if it's telling you to fetch, then you have to do 1 action. If it's telling you to shake, that's when you put your hand up. If it's telling you, if it's showing you fetch and a toy, then you have to fetch that particular toy out of your toy row and find that correct toy and show it. So this is really a thinker game along with it. I do think that kids and adults alike are going to have a good party game with this one.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoy this game, but like Ian said, I've only played it maybe two times.
Once or twice.
And each time you play it, it's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But each time we played it, we've had a lot of laughs, and there's no slapping. So that's the one thing that I do like with, some other games that are similar.
Well, I'll just say, if you've played Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, where you're flipping and stuff, it is very similar. Or Slapjack, or any of those card slapping games. It's very similar to that, but this one adds different actions, and you're not really slapping a whole lot. And you're not, you are doing 2 actions where you are, but it's not all the time.
Because it hurts when those hands hit these tiny, petite, flower little hands. It's not something I enjoy.
All right.
So, Quick Pause. I really enjoyed that one.
My number 4 is High Tide.
Oh.
I really like this game. It's got some really good strategy to it, and it's very interesting. It's just I think it's like you said with Quick Pause, it's going to be the same. Yes, the way the tiles come out are going to be slightly different, but you're starting 7 tiles can only come out a certain number of ways. The outside ones can only come out a certain number of ways. So, I do like this one, and I think it's a really quick setup. So if we want something at night,
good travel
this
game.
This would be a great travel game. Put the things in a bag, and that's about it. I think we have a bag in there that we. Yep, there's a bag, and so we draw everything out of the bag, even for the starting 6, just to make sure they're really randomized. But yeah, it's a quick game, a really good one, and so, but I don't think I could, even though on a pinch without much time, I would get this one up first over the big box games. I don't think I could put it above the big box ones.
Okay.
So that was my number 5. So number 3, top 3.
I'm gonna go with Trekking Through History as my number 3, and I don't know why. I think it's the collection. So as you move, you collect these little. I don't even know what they are. What are those?
The little token things.
Token thingies, and I have a problem with
that
those.
You're trying to put on your itinerary.
Yeah, my itinerary confuses me. But that's about it. And I do like the I call it the escalator where the cards are moving down. What do you call it?
Not escalator. It's a. Oh, I said it earlier.
Yeah, you did. But the word that he said earlier. But
conveyor belt.
Conveyor belt.
Escalators go up. It's conveyor belt. Just goes sideways.
Yeah. The conveyor belt I like when you're trying to make your collection. So you're trying to get a big old set in order. And when you can no longer put in order, you have to start another set. And the person who has the most timeline in order earns the most points and can ultimately win the game. And I do like that, but I have a problem with numbers. I'm just going to come out and say it. I have a problem with numbers. So trying to figure out if 1753 is before or after 863 confuses me sometimes.
I think when the negatives come in, with the BC stuff come in, that's where it starts getting confusing.
That's where it confuses me. But I do like the aspect of trying to build the longest book or history.
As many as you can. Try to get long ones a lot.
And I also like the aspect of whoever's in last gets to go again until they catch up. So that benefits you by being able to get more cards to put into your timeline. So that is my number 3, Trekking Through History.
All right. My number 3 is Her Story. I really like this game. I play this one. I have this one at my board game club at school. The kids enjoy this one as well. I wish I could get the boys to play it a little bit more. The girls have really loved it over the last couple of years. I do enjoy this one. I like the whole idea of getting the tokens to get your to be able to figure out, can I get the right tokens, the exact tokens, so I can get some bonus points? Because if you get the exact token or the exact symbols with the to put your book in or your chapter in, you get some bonus points. I like the abilities on them. I like the fact that you can reserve. You get points if you reserve one. You can only have 2 reserved though at a time, but it gives you some extra points, and you can be like, oh, I'm going to work on that one. But yeah, I do really enjoy it. I don't think Her Story is talked about enough. I think Her Story is a very underrated game. Yeah, I've seen some comments on it like, oh, there should be men in it. Well, that kind of defeats the purpose.
That's history.
That's kind of defeats the purpose of it. I love the fact that they used teachers and women in education and other fields to help choose the group. It's not a complicated game to play. I really enjoy that. But yeah, that is my number 3.
Nice. Okay. Well, my number 2 is the 2nd edition of Trekking the World. Now, I did not like Trekking the World, the first one. It was exactly like Trekking National Parks with a different map. But this one, they rehauled it. They redid everything. They redid the different, the gameplay, how you get cards. You keep track of a bank on your little bank token thingy. You keep track of your own money. You can earn postcards. You can travel from continent to continent. You can either collect. There's different cards at the top of the play area that tells you what your conquest is going to be for that game. You can have visitors. You can travel. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with this. With your, you have a little suitcase that you fill with different. I
think you're thinking of a different game with the visitors.
Am I?
Yes. We'll talk about no. This one doesn't have the visitors. You're thinking of the other one. You're thinking of the other one.
That's not visitors. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
Take that out of there. No visitors. You can't
visitors.
visit visitors. No visitors. But you do have your suitcase that you're trying to fill your tokens with, and the cards. You draw a card, and that's your starting point, and then you start from there, and then you get to roam around the world by earning the other cards. So I really do like this one much better than the first edition. The second one, or the first one, I never ever asked to play that one. This one, I asked to play that one. Oh, and that was your next one.
This is also my number 2. Like Stacey said, everything about it. They completely redid the game. They made it a better game. In both our opinions, the keeping track of the money. I like the fact that they took away the cards are now used for 2 different things, like which was basically checking the national parks, or like Ticket to Ride type thing, where you're using the colors, but you were using numbers to move, and then you were using colors to visit stuff. Now you are moving around based on the one card. The one card tells you how to move, how much money you get, and if you're in the right location, which souvenir tokens you get, which I really, really like. Yeah, this is a much better game. I'll talk about the first edition when we're kind of done and where that would have fallen on my list. But it definitely would not have been this high.
It would have been my number 6. So I'm just gonna throw
it. Well, yeah, the first edition probably would have been. Well, I guess it would have been number 7 if we were doing all 7. If it was just the 6, it would have been the last one, because it would have come behind Trekking the National Parks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
So that is my number 2.
So my number 1 is Her Story. And I love Her Story. I love the history with it. I love learning about women that I honestly had no clue they existed. They did a lot of research to get this game just right and to get the cards so that it had a lot of women who, one, were forgotten about, or two, were never recognized for what they originally did, because women just were not recognized in history for sciences or math or a lot of different things. And so once they started to get credit, that's when this game should have been made. But anyway, so a lot of women are now finally getting the credit that they deserve. I like the gameplay. I like how the cards are multi-use and that you can use them for their power, or you can get points to go around the board. Everything about this game. Here, let me show you the back. So you got the board up here, and then you've got your personal board down here. This is where you're going to be drawing from. You got your tokens. You've got your little people to move around the board. I just really enjoy it. And then when you're done playing the game, you have a little cover that you put on the front of all of your cards, and then you can read it as a genuine book.
No.
As a female who loves to read about history, and I love to read about females in history, it's just right up my alley. I mean, just by looking at the cover, you can recognize several of them. The artwork is fantastic. I like
that they, like you said, it's not necessarily they didn't get the honors and stuff, but some of them also just, because they're from all over the world, there's women in here we've never heard of, and you're like, oh my god, this woman was badass, like some woman pirate and stuff, like, where like she was okay, she was like one of the biggest pirates out there, but all you hear about are the same pirates, and so you don't hear about some of these other ones, and you're just like, oh yeah, I've heard of her, or I've heard about her. There was one when I was still teaching 4th grade, and we read about a woman named Mary Anning, who actually discovered a lot of the dinosaur fossils and pterosaur fossils and plesiosaurs and all that stuff, but was never given credit. We read about her in 4th grade, and then she's in this, so it's kind of cool when she comes up. So that is a great one as well. I do enjoy that one. Well, that leads me to my number one. And my number one then is Trekking Through History. This has been one of my favorite games since we got it, since it came out. I don't know. I love everything about it. I love the conveyor belt. I love the catch-up mechanism on the rondelle, where whoever's in last place gets to go first. Trying to get those combos, trying to get, like, what cards do I need? Which tokens do I need to get on my itinerary? Can I get a really long, how far can I kind of push my trek each time before I have to start over, especially late in the game, where you're like, okay, I'm not going to be a push. I'm going to have to start over, or I'm going to get one card. I'm going to lose points. Maybe I can get 2 cards at the end, so I get 0, but I'd really like to get at least some points. So, like, when do I end the trek before starting a new one? Can I really push it? Like, is it worth getting that one more card on there if I've got to move 5 hours to do it? One thing I didn't talk about is you have these little time crystals, which allow you to use those sometimes to go back. It has a really good solo mode, really easy solo mode to run, where the AI is collecting cards and stuff, and just they have their own itinerary. There's 4 different levels of hardness, of difficulty. And I wanted to mention real quick, I have a solo playthrough. It was one of the first things I ever did, I think. A solo live stream of Trekking Through History. We've covered the 2nd edition of Trekking the World. I think we may have done a playthrough of her story early. We have a review and a playthrough of High Tide, and we will have this as well for Quick Pause. All right, that brings us to our overall combined top 6. Well, and there's, with only 6 games, lots of crossover. Number 6, Trekking the National Parks, since it was on both of our lists at number 6. Number 4, there was a tie, because we just had these at 4 and 5 backwards, opposite each other. I had this at 5 and this at 4, and you had this at 5 and this at 4. And then let's just pick all 3 of these up, because these actually tied for number 1, because I had this at 1, you had that at 3. You had this at 1, I had at 3, and we both had that at 2. So these actually all tied for our favorite. So if we were I mean, obviously we both like these 3 games, but none of these are going anywhere in our collection. So there you have it. There is our ranking of our Underdog games collection. Which ones have you played? Where would you rank them? What do you think of the Underdog games? Are you excited for this one based on our very brief description of it? We're excited to do some playthrough of it.
It makes me
We're already
giggle.
giggling just trying to, just thinking about the playthrough for that one. So yeah, that was a nice surprise from them. Obviously, we've gotten several of these at review. Back some of them on Kickstarter. So we've got a good relationship with Underdog at this point on our small channel. So yeah, there you have it, everyone. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It means so much to the channel. It really helps get us out there. And hit that bell icon so you know when we have more content. And like I said, let us know what you think of the Underdog games. Once again, this has been Where There's Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian.
I'm Stacey.
And we'll see you next time.
At the table.